Hey guys, Sandy here and welcome back to the channel. Today I am playing with some mixed media products. I have these beautiful Velveteen glazes from Brutus Monroe, the August stencil of the month, and today I'm scrapbooking the time I met Michael from Brutus Monroe at Creativation. So let's see what I can do. Now this is one of my favorite things to play with mixed media on a scrapbooking layout, and that is a stencil. So I'm trying out this new metal spatula and I love it. It's easy to control. It's rigid enough and it doesn't flex a whole heck of a lot. So I lay down some of my dark blue Velveteen glaze, and I will have the colors named and linked down below for you guys. They're escaping me at the moment and I can't read the name off of the screen right now. I'm not wearing my glasses. So I am just going to mix these two blues over top of the stencil. And I do put a lot of glaze over top of my stencil, and that does create a halo effect. So my glaze gets underneath of the stencil lines. Now that does happen, sometimes more than others. If I would have used less product, it would not have done it so much. I'm okay with the kind of halo effect look. I think it just looks a different way on your stencil. Now I do grab my tried and true plastic palette knife to do the pink colors. So I am doing the same exact thing that I did with the blue. I'm just laying one of the shades down. I will scrape it off, clean my palette knife off, and then go in with the second color. And what that's going to do is give me some variation where some of the glazes will kind of melt together, and in other places you will have the two distinct colors. So I'm going to pull that off, and these are definitely going to be bolder, kind of in your face stenciling. Now I am also going to stencil print. Now stencil printing is one of my most favorite things to do. Now I actually usually stencil print with mists, but this time I kind of accidentally found out that it works with Velveteen glazes. So I decided to just go ahead, this is before I decided to stencil print. I used my finger and just rubbed the glaze right over the stencil, and my finger was kind of almost even worse than not using a palette than using a palette knife. I mean the finger just pushed all of the material underneath. So I'm just kind of working through it and trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because I want different effects. This is me thinking, flapping the stencil back and forth like this, but I want different effects. I don't want all of my stenciling to be this big, bold color. I kind of want lighter ones and a mix of things. I really just don't want it to be this entire one. So I'm going to go ahead and just finger paint the Velveteen glaze on there. And then I'm going to put my stencil kind of over it and lift it up. So this is when I decide, you know what, Sandy, you need to stencil print. So I actually turned off the camera because I wasn't sure if it was going to turn out or not. It did, so I am going to stencil print again. Now this is my mixed media matte, and it is pretty grimy, you guys. It's got glitter glaze on it and chroma glaze and any kind of glaze you can think about, it's on there. But after I created this project, I went and scrubbed it down, and it's pretty clean now. So I am just placing my stencil over top of the glaze. I'm laying it down on my white cardstock. I pop a paper towel over it just so I don't get it all over my fingers, and then I lift it up, and there you go. You have a stencil print, and I just think that this turned out so cool. So this time I am going to add a different color. I'm going to lay that down, and then I'm just going to repeat the process and pull a print with this color as well. Now when you do this with sprays, you just spray your stencil and then pick it up and place it down on whatever paper that you're trying to print on. So there we go. The color is just ever so slightly different, and then I'm going to basically do a stencil print over top of the Velveteen glaze here. So I'm just kind of coloring my cardstock. Now you don't really have to color your cardstock. You could just pull a print on pre-colored cardstock, but I kind of liked this effect. This is pulling a print instead of printing on it. So basically you just get that material down, you put your stencil on it, and when you pull the stencil up, it leaves the stenciled image. So I ran all of those stenciled sheets of cardstock through the die cut machine using the Foundations Circles dies, and I just went ahead and randomly did it. I had no rhyme or reason. I just cut out circles, and whichever ones fit. Now I went ahead and matted my photo on some of the Watercolor Galaxy paper from that paper pad. I did trim down my photo, and that's my biggest tip. If you have 6x6 papers and you want to use them as photo mats and you want a full and complete photo mat, just trim a 1/4 inch off of the 6-inch side of your photo. That way you'll be able to have a complete and total photo mat. So I did pop that up on some fun foam, and then I'm just placing my circles down in a diagonal line, and I am letting them hang off the page. I'm not like doing any rhyme or reason with this. It's just kind of what I think looks good and what I think looks cool, and I am basically just trying not to get the same exact stencil print overlapping with each other. They can be close to each other, but I don't want them overlapping. I want to go ahead and have that variety in my circles. So I'm going to get them down, and then I'm going to think, man, I really need to trim off these circles that are kind of hanging off the edge of the page, because I'm getting a little distracted and I can't really tell where they're going to end. So eventually I'm going to do that after I keep messing around with these circles. This is where I'm starting to think, whoa, you know, how many circles am I going to put on this? Am I going to fill up the page with circles? Am I going to keep my diagonal line? And I flip over my layout and trim off the hangy bits. And then now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, ooh, no. I don't want to fill this entire layout with circles. But what I do want to do is add a little bit more up here so it feels like a complete thought. I want it to feel like it goes all the way from the bottom left corner all the way to the top right. So I'm just going to add a couple of them. I toyed around with the idea of putting these smaller circles onto the larger circles where the patterns match up. I thought it looked pretty cool on the blue one, but on the pink one I was not a fan. I just did not like it. So I went ahead and pulled some foam stickers from my stash that says "All Smiles" in white, and I'm just going to layer that completely on top of one of my circles. And I'm thinking that it still needs a little something. I'm not exactly sure what, but then I find these self-stick gems from Doris, and these came in my Brutus Monroe scrapbooking box, and they are super fun. They kind of have like this iridescent kind of shine to them. So I'm just going to sprinkle those about the circles, and that is going to do it, guys. There is the completed layout. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so you can get notifications every time a video goes live, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.